This is the Achilles tang, or Achilles surgeonfish, named after the Greek mythological warrior and hero of the Trojan War. This is a feisty fish that defends its territory strongly against other surgeonfish. The mythological Achilles was known for his grace, beauty, and valor, and the Achilles tang fills this bill. The Achilles tang is overall bluish-black with a bright orange-red teardrop-shaped mark over the scalpel near his tail and a broad wedge-shaped orange band through his tail. Bright white markings highlight the mouth, gill cover, and pectoral fins and outline much of his silhouette. The Achilles tang is closely related to the rather rare-to-see gold rim surgeonfish, with similar shape and eye markings. The Achilles tang is most often found in rocky shores in and around the surge zone. This is a beautiful fish, not seen too often by casual snorkelers. We are all familiar with the mythical unicorn. Well, here is Hawaii's most often seen unicorn fish, the blue spine unicorn, or blue spine surgeonfish. This is one of the larger reef fish, as the adults are about 27 inches in length. There are other unicorn fish with larger horns, but they are not seen nearly as often as the blue spine. The blue spine unicorn can vary in color during the day, especially when it is feeding or spawning. The quick identifying characteristics are the horn, which is not developed until it gets larger, and the two bright blue marks at the beginning of the tail. Look for these blue marks to tell it from other surgeonfish with different colored marks by the tail. As mentioned, when the blue spine is feeding, it generally darkens in color, but has a light patch above the pectoral fin. The bright blue marks at the beginning of the tail always stand out, no matter the current shading of the fish. This is the brown surgeonfish, or lavender tang. It is a very common fish on most reefs in Hawaii. Often, there are so many of them, and they are usually so dull in color that you just look past them. They can vary from a dull brown to a very light brown with lavender tinge, especially in the fins in good light. These fish are often seen in small schools close to shore and are so unremarkable that you find yourself forgetting to even note that you saw them. The brown surgeonfish, in most light, has virtually no distinguishing features, but like most surgeonfish, it will have dark marks at the beginning of the tail, and in good light you can see yellowish dots around its face. When we first started snorkeling and identifying all the fish, we finally realized after a few trips that we had never actually figured out what those schools of brown fish were. To our surprise, when we looked into it, we found them to be the brown surgeonfish, or lavender tang. This is the convict tang. You might guess why it's called a convict tang, as its whitish body with 6 vertical black stripes reminds you of the required clothing of prison convicts, which began in New York in the late 1820s. But you can relax. These fish are not convicts, nor are they aggressive in any way. The convict tang, or surgeonfish, is the most widespread and abundant surgeonfish in the Indo-Pacific region of the Earth's oceans. They feed exclusively on fine filamentous algae and will feed singly or in small schools and sometimes in very large schools. They school for safety when aggressive predators are present. The convict tang is overall whitish with 6 black vertical bars, the first of which runs through the eye location. When first learning the reef fish, you might confuse the convict tang with the Hawaiian sergeant damselfish or the Indo-Pacific sergeant. The convict tang is most often found in the more calm water, away from the surge zone, and away from heavily covered coral areas of the reef. The convict tang was a favorite food in old Hawaiian cultures. This is the gold-rimmed tang. This elegant fish is not seen often, but is eye-catching when good fortune comes your way to discover one. I've only encountered this fish twice, and the first time was at Maluaka Beach in South Maui. Maluaka Beach is a great snorkeling spot that can yield some exciting finds. Maluaka Beach has great parking, good bathrooms, and both a beautiful shallow reef directly off the south end of the beach and deeper water adjacent to the south, where many snorkel boats bring their customers because there's so much to see there. The gold-rimmed tang has a basic blackish body with bright white marks below the eye and behind its mouth. The beautiful tail is white and turns to baby bluish at the end with a striking yellow bar in between. The name gold rim comes from the goldish yellow at the base of both the dorsal and anal fins, almost surrounding its entire body. In good light, you can see that the fins are edged in a beautiful blue close to the color of the end of the tail. I hope that you get to find one of these beautiful fishes. This is the eye-striped surgeonfish. Snorkelers often do not encounter this fish as it prefers depths of 20 feet or more, but will sometimes come to shallow areas to feed. The eye-striped surgeonfish often spends daylight hours in hiding under cliff edges and other protected places. The eye-striped surgeonfish is very similar looking to two other surgeonfish, the yellowfin surgeonfish and the ringtail surgeonfish. Although there are several differences, the quick and easy way to determine if it is an eye-striped surgeonfish is to look at the color of the scalpel at the base of the tail, which is bright white for the eye-striped surgeon, but black for both the yellowfin and ringtail surgeonfish. The eye-striped surgeon also has a larger yellow marking behind the eye and usually a yellow band around its tail. By the way, the quick way to tell the difference between the ringtail surgeon and the yellowfin is to look at the pectoral fin. The outer 1/3 of the yellowfin surgeon is a beautiful yellow, while the ringtail surgeon pectoral fin is all darkish. Another quick tell is the size of the scalpel at the base of the tail, which is quite short on the yellowfin and much longer on the ringtail. An interesting fact about eye-striped surgeonfish is the Hawaiian name for this fish meant stink, because of the bad odor produced when the fish was cooked. This is the gold ring surgeonfish. It gets its name from the bright gold ring around its eyes. Not as common as some other reef fish, yet it can be found on many Hawaiian reefs. It can be seen singly or in small schools, generally moving about the reef feeding. Of course, the quick and easy tell for this fish is the bright gold ring around its eye. It is not a large fish, ranging around 7 inches as an adult. Its dark body features many fine horizontal lines and a beautiful artistic pattern with the same color dots on its face. Early Hawaiians were fond of the gold ring's beautiful eyes, and would use the Hawaiian name for this fish, which is kola, to describe an attractive person, calling them in effect Sweet Eye Cola. It's been found that the gold ring surgeon is endemic in Hawaii with closely related species throughout the Indo-Pacific. This is the orange-band surgeonfish. It is also known as the orange shoulder surgeonfish. This is not an uncommon find on many reefs in Hawaii. It is often found in small to mid-sized schools, although it can be seen in rather large schools also. Often, though, you see it just singly working the reef, but if you look around, you'll generally find others nearby. The orange-band surgeonfish, in its adult stage, will always have an orange band on the shoulder and a white bar through its tail. The back 1/3 of the fish is a darker shade than the front 2/3. However, it can be seen in a dark phase and in a light phase, but it will always have the orange shoulder band and the white near the trailing edge of the tail fin. But it is most often seen with the light gray front and the dark gray back. It does not fully develop the orange shoulder band and white margin in the tail until it is an adult. In its early stage of development, it is all yellow and can be mistaken for a yellow tang. This is the orange spine unicorn fish from the surgeonfish family of fishes. This fish is seen often on most Hawaiian reefs and is easy to identify. It's a medium to large fish, as the adult is around 18 inches in length. It will frequent the shallow parts of the reef while feeding. It has a fairly long lifespan, having been known to live as long as 12 years. The orange spine unicorn fish is identified quickly by the bright orange caudal spines at the base of its tail. These forward curving tail spines are extremely sharp and can be used as a wicked weapon. Often unnoticed by snorkelers, this fish has bright orange lips and a graceful curve of yellow from eye to mouth, with a bright orange upper forehead and orange along its upper dorsal fin all the way to its tail. But this orange along its spine cannot be seen looking from above, but the beautiful bright blue on either side of the dorsal fin is what most snorkelers see looking downward. The technical Latin species name for this fish means erased or blotted out, probably referring to the fact that the orange spine unicorn fish does not develop an actual horn on its head as many other unicorn fish do. Since the pale-tail unicorn fish is not seen often by snorkelers, we did not identify this fish until later in our trips to Hawaii. They usually tend to be deeper in the water and will often congregate high in the water column and just lazily swim around. In fact, the Hawaiian name for this fish means lazy. The pale-tail unicorn fish is usually recognized by its shape and whitish tail. If it is a more mature adult, then it will have a visible horn, which continues to grow until it makes feeding on the reef difficult, at which time it will move to deeper water and change its diet to eating plankton, which is found in the water column. One other tell for this fish is the dark spot at the base of his tail. The species name for pale-tail unicorn fish means short-horned, which compared to some other unicorn fish describes it well. This is the sailfin tang or surgeonfish. When first watching this fish, you may wonder where the name sailfin comes from. But if you tag along long enough, you will get to see it raise its sails, so to speak. When alarmed, it will raise both its dorsal and anal fins, increasing its apparent size and beauty, I might add, dramatically. This is exciting to see. The sailfin tang has 6 vertical white bars over an orangey-yellow body. Its nose and face are white, and has a yellowish tail preceded by a white ring around the base of the tail and a blue area surrounding the scalpel. As mentioned earlier, when it is alarmed for any reason, it will raise its dorsal and anal fins high in a rather spectacular and showy fashion. These beautiful fish are found on many larger Hawaiian reefs. The white bar surgeonfish is one of the most easy Hawaiian fish to identify. Generally, this fish is found in or near the surge zone, but it will school in deeper, calmer water. It is often found with the white spotted surgeonfish, as both these fish like the same habitat. Another interesting thing you will observe is that they often will be found mixed among a large school of convict tangs. The white bar surgeonfish is basically gray, which can be light or darker gray. But the easy tell is the white bar found between 2 stripes of black just behind its eye and a white ring around the base of the tail. It does have faint random rows of dots over its entire body, but you need good light to see them. A close cousin, as mentioned earlier, is the white spotted surgeonfish, but they are enough different looking that you will not confuse them when identifying them. Another interesting fact is that the white bar surgeonfish is only found in the subtropical Pacific Islands, well north or south of the equator. The Latin species name for this fish means white-cheeked. The white-spotted surgeonfish is another rather easy reef fish to identify. This fish loves the surge zone and is thought that the white spots on the back half of its body provide camouflage, looking like the bubbles associated with the surge zone on many reefs. The white-spotted surgeonfish is an attractive fish that is almost circular in shape, with a gray-brown body and white bar behind its eye and a larger white bar behind its pectoral fin. The rear half of the body is covered with prominent white spots, giving this fish its name. Its pectoral fins are bright yellow, and its eye-catching tail is yellow, turning into a dark, contrasting black. Even though the white-spotted surgeonfish loves the surge zone, it can often be seen swimming about the reef mixed in with a school of convict tangs that move about the reef, stopping to graze from time to time. This is the beautiful yellow tang. Although this fish is found in other parts of the South Pacific and in Japan, it is only found in large numbers abundantly and schooling in large numbers in Hawaii. In fact, on bright sunny days, you can even see schooling yellow tangs from the shore. However, you often see them singly or in small numbers feeding on the reef. This may be one of the easiest reef fish to identify, as it is completely yellow, except for a pure white tail spine. There is something magical and certainly beautiful to witness a large school of yellow tangs flowing about the reef, often with other surgeonfish joining the parade. I would like to introduce you to what I have called the three amigos. Now, I'm not talking about Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short, three fantastic comedians, but I'm talking about the eye-striped surgeonfish, the yellowfin surgeonfish, and the ringtail surgeonfish. Three Hawaiian surgeonfish that look very much alike. Amigo number 1, the eye-striped surgeonfish. Amigo number 2, the yellowfin surgeonfish. And amigo number 3, the ringtail surgeonfish. In this segment, I'm going to show you the quick and easy way to identify each of these three amigos when snorkeling. Remember, these hints are for identifying the adult versions of these fish, as the subadults often look different. The first thing to look for when you see one of the three amigos is to look at the scalpel at the base of the tail. If that scalpel is white, it is an eye-striped surgeonfish, for the other two amigo scalpels are dark and blackish. This white scalpel is almost always bright and easy to see. If, however, when you see one of the three amigos, the scalpel is dark, then you next look at the pectoral fin. If the outer 1/3 of that pectoral fin is bright yellow, then you're looking at the yellowfin surgeonfish. But always look at the scalpel first, because the eye-striped surgeonfish can have yellow in its pectoral fin also. But remember, the eye-striped surgeonfish scalpel is white, and the yellowfin scalpel is dark. Finally, if when you see one of these fish, the scalpel is dark, and its pectoral fin is also darkish with no bright yellow, then you're looking at the ringtail surgeonfish. All three of these fish can have rings around their tail, but the ringtail surgeonfish generally has a very prominent and bright white ring with a beautiful blue tail. Now, of course, there are many other differences you can use to identify these fish, and I'll let you learn those as your interest will lead you. But using the technique just mentioned is easy to remember and will yield accurate results. Let's now look at some video and see if we can identify these different three amigo fish. Question 1. Does this amigo have a pure white scalpel? No. Therefore, it can't be an eye-striped surgeonfish. Question 2. Does it have a yellow pectoral fin? Answer, yes. So it must be a yellowfin surgeonfish. Here is another of the three amigos. Question 1. Does it have a pure white scalpel? Answer, no. Then it cannot be an eye-striped surgeonfish. Question number 2. Does it have bright yellow in its pectoral fin? Answer, no. Then it must be a ringtail surgeonfish. Here is yet another of the three amigos. Question number 1. Does it have a pure white scalpel? Answer, yes. Then it must be an eye-striped surgeonfish, even though it has yellow in its pectoral fin. Here's a little practice. I'll show you some video clips, and you try to identify which of the three amigos it is. Fish number 1. Fish number 2. Fish number 3. Fish number 4.